Yo, what's going on, Kicks Army? I'll be doing a sneaker drawing on the Air Max 90 Reverse Infrared. I was talking about some of the teams that Jimmy Butler could potentially be traded to, Kyrie Irving's dream scenario with the Boston Celtics, and Dennis Smith Jr. not participating in this year's dunk contest. Let's get it! First of all, if you guys enjoy these daily sneaker drawing videos, make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bounce past that bell to get post notifications. More importantly, if you like the stencil that you see on the screen, just know that all the stencils for my videos are available on my website, KicksArt.com. When I say they're available, I'm not saying that you gotta pay, $1 per stencil. No, they're all free. I have over 215 stencils on the website that are all absolutely free. And as of today, the Kobe's tab is pretty much done at the moment. Obviously, there are a few more models I can go ahead and add, but I could say that about pretty much all the tabs. But at this very moment, the Kobe's tab is pretty much good. I do have about 8 different stencil requests that I have to go fulfill for the rest of the week. And by the way, if you guys ever want to see a stencil added to the website that's not already available, you can send in a request with the contact tab at the top of the page. If you saw yesterday's video, and this is why I hate putting this stuff out there, but at the same time, I wanted to tell you guys what my mindset is. You know how I mentioned that if I already had a stencil that was available on the website, and if I was going to do a sneaker drawing of that shoe, that I would try to go ahead and do an alternate view to add a new stencil for that particular sneaker. Obviously, that's not going to be in the case for today's video because today was actually extremely busy, and it's supposed to having this video come out super late, even though it's already pretty late. I wanted to just go ahead and get the video done so that way I would still have it up for today. But just know that in the future, there are going to be days where if I know I have the extra time and if I can plan ahead of time, add a new view for that particular shoe. So if it's going to be like a shoe that I've already done, there will be like a lateral view where you see 2 of the same sneakers, but it'll be off to the side or something else of the sort. Which would mean that on those days, it would be 3 new stencils as opposed to 2, because I don't want to go ahead and do a new stencil for a sneaker that I'm planning on doing as opposed to something that I want to see added to the website, like a request or just a new shoe that I wanted to add in general. It's a lot of work to go ahead and do this, and some people have been asking me how I'm able to kind of do all this. Well, for one, it helps that I'm not exactly hanging out with my friends as much as I normally do, as well as hanging out with anybody in general. Because between work, school, and school starts up again next week, so I kind of have this week off to kind of go ahead and recollect my thoughts and kind of take a break off of dealing with all that kind of stress. But yeah, with school, work, and then with the channel, I pretty much stay busy all the time, so there's not a whole lot of free time besides me committing to what I have to do for this channel and the website. When it comes to the stencils, that does take a lot of time in and of itself, so basically I have to go ahead and have to determine what stencils I want to do the day before. And I want to go ahead and get those drawings pretty much laid out in pencil first, and then I have to spend the time going to ink them later on during the day. On a very good day, I can get both the stencils done before I have to do anything important. So whether it be before I start work or before I start the rest of the day or whatever I'm doing. So for examples, on days where I have a morning class for school, I'll usually get to school around 6:30 in the morning, and that gives me about an hour and a half to go ahead and do whatever I want before classes actually start. So usually during that time, I'm listening to music and working on the stencils. I don't have to get to class that early, but I prefer to get to class that early since I'm going to be waking up early anyway. I might as well wake up a little bit extra early, that way I can get those stencils done out the way for that day. On a day where I have work, I usually will start work like around 9 or 2 depending on the day. And pretty much I can just afford to go ahead and wake up a little bit early to get those stencils done, as well as maybe even work on the video, so that way the rest of the day when I come back is pretty easy. So yes, it is a lot of work, and some days it's way more annoying than others. Like today is pretty annoying because of all the other stuff I was trying to do. But it does get easier overall. Like even though it is a lot of work, the work isn't as hard to do now as opposed to in the beginning. Those of you who have been around the channel for a while, at the very least in the beginning of the year, do you guys remember that one video I was talking about how I said it was pretty much unlikely that I'd be able to upload a new stencil every day while uploading a daily video? And look at your boy now, doing that ×2 basically. I mentioned that the big milestone in terms of the website is to have 1,000 stencils on the website. I feel like once I get to that point, I won't have to do 2 new stencils a day. I can probably do like 1 new stencil a day or maybe every other day, because the website will already have so many different stencils on there where it's not going to be a requirement for me to keep pumping out these stencils at the rate that I am. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of time before I reach that goal. If I stay consistent with the rate that I'm going at right now though, I should definitely reach that goal by the end of next year. Now let's get into some basketball discussions. Before we get into any of the other basketball discussions that I planned for today's video, there's something super important I have to talk about in the world of basketball. Apparently, Kevin Durant is not following Russell Westbrook on Instagram. Now, I don't know what their relationship is. I'm assuming KD wants to be cool with Westbrook, but I don't know how Westbrook really feels about KD. I'm assuming he still pretty much hates him. He might have gotten over the whole situation between the both of them, but I know for a fact he's still pretty salty about the whole thing deep inside, which is why he always wants to beat them whenever they go up against each other. And if that is true, then Russell Westbrook must be extremely annoyed that KD is following him, because the only way you can prevent that from happening is if you block him, and that would be, you know, super petty. I mean, if he did that, I wouldn't blame it, because I would definitely do that. I would have blocked Kevin Durant, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago. It wouldn't have been anything new. But let me go ahead down this hypothetical highway real quick. Maybe this is the start of the scenario where Kevin Durant eventually will join back with Oklahoma City. I had mentioned in a previous video last month that that would be an amazing thing to happen, to see those two players get back together again after the little breakup or whatever. That's what I want to see Kevin Durant do, because especially if he can bring back a championship to Oklahoma City, oh my god, that'd be nuts. And if he's able to do that during his free agency, like, that's gonna be pretty good. We got Westbrook, we got Paul George, we got KD. Like, that's a pretty legit 1, 2, and 3 position. You already got Steven Adams too, and then, I don't know, find somebody else to play that 4 spot, I guess. It doesn't really matter at that point. When you have those big 3, you'll be pretty much good. But in serious basketball news, we know that the Minnesota Timberwolves are trying to look for a good trade for Jimmy Butler. Ideally, the owner says he wants to go ahead and have Jimmy Butler traded by, you know, maybe 2 days from now at the most. Jimmy Butler already said that he wanted to be traded, so it's really no brainer to go ahead and let him go at this point. They've already given Karl Anthony Towns the max contract, which solidifies that they want him to be the center of their franchise. He's a really good, talented young player. He has a lot of improvement left to do, which means that he's probably going to be a very good player for a very long time. And also, it's not like you're going to have an easy time go ahead and recruiting free agents to come over there to play. Since Jimmy Butler doesn't want to stay there, it only makes sense to go ahead and try to trade him out, so that way the pieces that you do get back can go ahead and start training with the rest of your squad. Besides the fact that pretty much all the NBA teams are interested in this trade, because of course they'd want to add Jimmy Butler to your roster. I don't know one team that doesn't want to add him. Even Golden State would probably want to add him if they could. But one of the teams that is really interesting for this little Jimmy Butler sweepstakes is the Houston Rockets. And I think that'd be very interesting. They'd be giving up Eric Gordon, which is a bench piece, but I mean, you're giving up a bench piece pretty much to go ahead and get a starter, so it's not really that big of a deal. It's a give and it's a take. That'd be really cool, because then you have a big 4 as opposed to a big 3. Although I really don't want to put Carmelo in that whole big 3 thing, because you guys already know how I feel about Carmelo. Carmelo, I'm rooting for you. I really want you to do good, but if this doesn't work out because of you, your career is pretty much done at this point, because I don't see how you can have success anywhere else other than Houston. Unless you go to Golden State, which, man, if you go to Golden State, the NBA world would hate you, so don't do that. There are some notable teams that are very interested in Jimmy Butler. We see the Wizards, we see Milwaukee Bucks, the Clippers, of course. All those teams would be interesting. Now, the only thing is that with any trade that involves Jimmy Butler, one of the things they'd have to give up is a future first-round draft pick. Along with some decent players, of course. Most likely you're not going to be able to trade Jimmy Butler away for like one of your star players, because that defeats the purpose if you're trying to make that trade. So obviously one of the future first round draft picks would be one of the requirements to go ahead and solidify this deal. But guys, no matter which way you look at it, whatever team he goes to, that team gets immediately more interesting. Even if it's the Clippers, it wouldn't be too interesting, but it would be interesting in the fact that Kawhi Leonard has mentioned that he wants to go to LA. And guess what? I bet you he would much rather play for the Clippers than for the Lakers. At least with the Clippers, you can go ahead and you can try to build something, and it wouldn't be as much pressure as opposed to playing with LeBron. So I think for Kawhi Leonard, that probably worked better. That being said, if he's trying to win, then you gotta go with LeBron James. And also, recently Kyrie Irving gave us a very interesting quote. He said, "There are times where I think about having number 11 in the Boston Raptors. Hopefully one day. That's my dream." And this is all really simple. All this means is that ideally, if everything goes well, he would like to stay in Boston. Why is that? Well, the one season that he's been there, they've had major success without him and without the other all-star player on the team. That shows a very high level of stability, whether it be from the coaching staff, from the organization, as well as from the players to buying into the system. That's a very awesome situation that no player really wants to give up, especially a player of his caliber, where he can definitely add to that scenario to make it a lot better. Because a lot of people have stated if he was playing in that series against the Cavs, they probably would have beaten the Cavs, and I believe that wholeheartedly. In order to be immobilized in the rafters of the Boston Garden, one thing that he has to understand is that he would have to be there pretty much the rest of his career, because they don't hang up banners for everybody. Only that would have to mean that they produce a championship, at least one championship. If that is truly his dream, if that's truly a goal that he would like to achieve, then all the trade rumors and the possibilities of him going to another team are pretty much voided out. All that would mean is that he would have to stay with Boston for the rest of his career, basically. And not only that, but they would also have to have success, of course. And then lastly, we got a quote from Dennis Smith Jr. He said, "I'm not going to the dunk contest this year. The gimmicks and everything that go with it, I'm not with it." And the only reason why I bring this up is because honestly, the way I feel about the dunk contest, besides the one that we had like 2 or 3 years ago with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, like I don't see how the dunk contests are going to get any better because the best dunkers in the world are not playing in the NBA. Are there some NBA players that are naturally really athletic and great at dunking? Yes, there are, but I mean, you're going to find a lot more of these people that don't play in the NBA that all they do is practice their athleticism for dunking. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if within a year or two, we see the dunk contest either be something that's brought in to add entertainment value but not using players from the league, or it's just taken out of the All-Star Weekend altogether. If nobody's ever told you this, you heard it here first. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed these daily sneaker drawing videos, leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bounce past that bell to get post notifications. Don't forget to visit KicksArt.com for all your sneaker stencil needs. Make sure you check out the other videos on the channel. You guys already know that I'm uploading daily sneaker drawing videos. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Yee.